As I purchase more and more tool holders, my lathe is starting to get cluttered. I need a rack to mount them on so they'll be easy to access, but to buy one is really expensive. So I got some ideas from some other YouTubers and came up with my own version. I'm going to mount them here on the top edge of the backboard. A while back I went to an estate sale and they had a whole bunch of aluminum to get rid of. It's 1.5 inches by 1/4 inch thick. They already had some holes drilled in them, but I'm going to work around that. I measured the widest part of the dovetail in the tool holder and then transferred that measurement onto the aluminum angle. The first thing I'm going to do is cut off the area where the hole was already pre-drilled. I don't want to use that part. Now I can use the stop that's part of the bandsaw to make all my cuts exactly the same length. I cut 12 pieces for 12 locations. Now I have another piece of scrap aluminum I'm going to use for a template, so I can be consistent with all my angles. I need to set it up so I can mill all the angles to match the dovetail on the tool holders. I don't recall what I used this piece of aluminum angle for, but I need to mill it down so it's perfectly flat. Now I can mill the angle for the dovetail. I'll do all 12 on one side, and then I'll move the template over to the other side of the vise and do the other side of all 12. And now a test fit to make sure they all fit properly. I need to end up with a 1-inch overhang on each end to be able to mount it on the backboard on the lathe. So the overall length needs to be about 25 inches. I have a piece of 2-inch wide by 1/4 inch thick flat aluminum that I'm going to use for a mount. The lip on the backboard is about 3/4 of an inch. I'm using the edge finder and the DRO to find the back edge and the right side corner. So I'll move in a 1/2 inch from the right side corner and then down from the upper edge 375 thousandths of an inch, which is 1/2 of 3/4. I did the same thing to the left side. Now that I have it clamped on the lathe where I want it, I'll drill the holes through the lip on the backboard. I calculated where I wanted to put the holes in the aluminum angle for the tool holders. I'm drilling all the holes to 1/8 of an inch. I'm using the milling vise stop. I'll do all 12 angles on one side, and then I'll move over 1 inch and 160 thousandths and do the other side. I'm also countersinking the holes so the screw head will be below the surface. I'll move the x-axis over 1 inch and 160 thousandths. Now I can do all 12 on the other side. Now that all 12 are done, I can mount them on the 2-inch wide aluminum bracket. I turned the 1/8 inch drill bit upside down and used it for a guide to locate the hole in the aluminum angle, so I know where the location would be for the mounting screw. I'm using number 4-40 screws. After I drill the hole, I'll move the y-axis over 1 inch and 160 thousandths to drill the other hole. Now I can tap the holes for number 4-40 screws. So I just repeat the process until I get to the end. Now I go back to 0 on the y-axis. It took a while, but I got them all done. My boring bar tool holder is a little bit thicker than the other ones, so I'm going to have to space the last one out just a little bit. I want to put another mounting hole in the bracket where it bolts to the backboard on the lathe. So it looks like about the 13-inch mark is going to be a good place to drill a hole. So with the bracket that's closest to the 13-inch mark, I'll remove the mounting screw and locate the hole again with the 1/8 inch drill bit, and then drill it out to the same size hole that I used for the 2 outside mounting bolts. And then I'll countersink it for the larger bolt head. Now with the bracket mounted back on the lathe, I can drill the center hole in the lip on the backboard, and then fasten it with the same size screws I used on the ends. That looks a lot better, and it clears the bracket for my DRO. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, and there's no more clutter on my lathe.